Good afternoon, everyone. This is Woody Collins again from Congo Helping Hands, and we are here to talk about Congo. So this is another episode of talking about Congo, and we have a couple interesting topics. Just one big topic is the food crisis, insecurity problems in the Kasai province of Congo, and that's where I do all my work, majority of my work there in the Kananga and in the former Kasais there. So we're going to be talking about that, and then if there's any questions, I will get to some questions and answers, or I will give you some answers to people that have asked me questions on the internet. So let me go ahead and get started with the first subject, food insecurity. Food insecurity is when you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You just don't know. You don't know whether you're going to have money to buy it, whether you're going to have a source of it, and what you're doing. So that is quite prevalent in the Congo, especially in the rural areas, because even though like right now it's rainy season, and so they're going through their harvest should be done, and hopefully they've saved some food, have some money left that they can go out and buy uh, their staples, like salt, sugar, some cassava if they didn't raise enough cassava, and things like that. So it's very prevalent. So I've been reading these stories from the World Food Program, and they had rated Congo as the worst country for food crisis this year. That they are seeing a big problem. So I had not heard of what was going on, and so after reading a couple articles, and they were, I said, "Gee, am I missing something?" So I sent a text message over to my colleagues over in Kananga today, and I got back. It is not a potential problem. It is a problem. That is the lack of food insecurity. And so I asked him, in the same message, I asked whether it was as bad as it was in 2018 when we went over and delivered food, bought food over there and took it out to places who did not have money, could not afford it. They were resulting from a conflict. And that brings us up to what is the causes of this. The first cause is conflict. When you have conflict, people move, they can't move their household. They just grab whatever they can and get away from the conflict, go out into the bush, and they leave their farms, whatever growing that they're growing there, and they just survive out in the bush. And so, you can imagine there is not a lot of edible things that's in the woods, but they start suffering from the lack of food. The second thing is climate change. Uh, what I've noticed and what people have told me is that right now, the problem with the climate is they had two distinct rainy seasons, and they would start almost like on clockwork, starting on the 15th of September and going on. Right now, it is more, uh, you know, not as frequent, meaning to say it doesn't start up immediately. You may have a rain around one day, and then you will get maybe another week or so before rain, where in the past it would start raining, and it would rain just about every day, more frequently, or every other day or something like that. So the climate change is affecting the Congo, uh, and also affecting the farmers who depend on natural rain to water their crops. They don't have uh, you know irrigation and things like we do. If it don't rain, then their crop won't grow. That's just as simple as that. So they are more dependent because they don't have the resources to to pump in water and stuff like that. Plus, water is naturally a problem in the Congo because there's not that many wells, and you don't have places to get your water from. You would have to walk all the way to the nearest river, a creek, or something, which may be uh, 10 or 20 miles away. So, how far would that go if you go in and carrying water back to those locations? And finally, the third problem is the COVID pandemic that has interrupted a lot of things that's going on, schools, churches, government, and everything. And so they are having problems suffering through the COVID pandemic. They just opened up their country back on August 16th. And so they are still getting used to what it all means and what it all entails. Uh, Congo imports a lot of stuff, uh, quite a bit, and so therefore, if other countries are still under lockdown, it will affect the Congo just in those ways. So those are the three C's that I think of. There's the COVID pandemic that we're all facing, climate change in some way. We are all facing climate change. Just look at all the fires we've had here in California, and we got hurricanes coming up out of the Gulf in record number, and then finally conflict. Luckily, we don't have conflict to drive us into out of the cities where you can't go and buy grocery, uh, uh, really affecting our standard of living and also our livelihood. So those are what is going on in the Congo. In the next few days, I will try to get more additional uh, information. But as I referenced, we were over there in 2018 to deliver food to widowers, grandmothers, and older people who was not available to go out into the bush to farm. When, of course, when there's trouble coming, the younger people who are more fit, they leave, and it's kind of you're on your own. So a lot of the older people stayed there, and they wasn't really prepared to live without their older children, their younger children, that is, and so the older people were really suffering. So uh, that that will conclude that for on the three C's, and we'll be probably talking about that as I get more information on it in the coming days. The other thing I wanted to do was to answer some questions. Don't see any questions coming in, but I will say some of the questions I've gotten over on Facebook and talking with different people around the world is everybody is suffering. Uh, I've gotten messages from people in Kenya reaching out. Can we help them in some kind of way? And unfortunately, I have to tell them that we're working in the Congo, and that's where all of our resources and everything is going. Uh, just to, also gotten people from India. India is going through a pandemic, and the three C's is probably affecting those people. And so they were also saying, can you help us in some way? And I had to tell them no again. And then even Pakistan, people from Pakistan. So there's a lot of people that's hurting and a lot of people that's suffering. And because we've had uh, the first C, I would say climate change, that's affecting everybody. And also the COVID pandemic is affecting everybody. And if you have any kind of contact, it just makes it worse. So we hope that some that we get some relief, we get some somehow get over this COVID pandemic and get on to and maybe start taking in some measures, or the farmers start working around the difference in climate change and recognize that there's a climate change and adjust their methods appropriately. So that's just all I had to talk about today. And this is Woody Collins, and I'm with Congo Helping Hand. And we have will continue every day at 3 o'clock Eastern Time talking about the Congo. And if you have any specific questions or comments, please drop me a line. You can reach me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, any of those platforms, or just plain old email by sending it to wmcollins at congohelpinghands.org. That's wmcollins at congohelpinghands.org. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will see you tomorrow. And as always, take care of yourself and your family. Be safe and be blessed. We'll see you later.